My beloved child, pause for a moment and feel this shift in the air around you, because what you are about to understand is not ordinary, not random, and not accidental. You did not find this message by coincidence. You were guided here because something inside you still aches, still wonders, still replays the memories of the one who played with your heart as if it were a temporary emotion instead of something sacred. And today, something is changing. Don't skip this. Stay with me. Something huge is waiting for you. There was a time when you gave them your purest attention. You showed up with honesty. You believed their words. You trusted their promises. You opened your heart slowly, carefully, hoping this time would be different. And for a while, it felt magical. Their messages came quickly. Their energy felt warm. Their presence felt intentional. But then something shifted. Replies slowed down. Energy changed. Consistency faded. You started questioning yourself instead of questioning the pattern. And that is where the story truly began. Here is what you did not see at that time. While you were offering sincerity, they were offering uncertainty. While you were building depth, they were testing options. It was not that you were not enough. It was that they were not ready to handle something real. And when someone is not ready for something real, they often treat it casually. They pull back. They play games. They delay clarity. They enjoy attention without offering commitment. They enjoy connection without providing stability. And you felt that imbalance, even if you tried to ignore it. Now listen carefully, because this is where the title becomes real. This person played with your heart, but now they are facing something they did not expect. It is not punishment. It is not revenge. It is awareness. And awareness can be more powerful than anything else. Time has passed. Silence has created space. And in that space, reflection has begun. They thought you would always be available. They assumed you would always respond. They believed your loyalty had no expiration. But what they failed to understand is that hearts grow wiser. Energy shifts. And when someone begins to detach emotionally, the absence becomes louder than any argument ever could. You may not see it yet, but the person who once felt powerful controlling the pace now feels the weight of your distance. The one who delayed clarity now questions their own hesitation. The one who thought you would wait indefinitely is now facing the possibility that you may not. Stay till the end, because what you are about to realize will change how you see this entire situation. The universe has a quiet way of balancing emotional exchanges. When someone mishandles sincerity, they eventually encounter the contrast. They meet someone who treats them the way they once treated you. They feel uncertainty where they once caused it. They experience inconsistency where they once delivered it. And in that reflection, understanding begins to grow. But here is the deeper revelation: this moment is not about their regret. It is about your evolution. While they were distracted, you were transforming. While they were uncertain, you were strengthening. While they were playing small emotional games, you were learning boundaries. You were learning self-worth. You were learning that love should feel safe, not confusing. That connection should feel mutual, not one-sided. That effort should feel balanced, not begged for. Something huge is waiting for you, but it cannot enter a heart that is still clinging to what has already shown its limitations. Right now, there is a subtle shift happening. They are thinking about you more than you realize. They are replaying conversations. They are noticing your silence. They are wondering why your energy feels different. And that curiosity is growing into realization. But here is the powerful truth: their realization does not define your future. You may have once waited for them to understand your value. You may have once hoped they would suddenly wake up and treat you differently. But the energy has changed now. You are no longer seeking validation. You are becoming the validation. Don't skip this moment. Let it settle in your spirit. The person who played with your heart is facing the mirror of their own behavior. Not through drama. Not through confrontation. But through absence. Through growth. Through the quiet strength you have developed without announcing it. And this is where destiny becomes interesting. When someone loses access to something genuine, they often begin to see its rarity. When someone no longer receives effortless warmth, they begin to understand its value. When someone senses that the door may not remain open forever, urgency replaces comfort. But you are no longer operating from urgency. You are operating from alignment. And alignment changes everything. Because while they are just beginning to recognize what they lost, you are stepping into something new. Something stable. Something mature. Something intentional. Whether that new chapter includes them or not will depend on one thing only: consistency. Not promises. Not apologies. Not emotional speeches. Consistency. Stay till the end, because this next part matters more than you think. There is a turning point approaching. A conversation. A message. A moment of clarity. It will not be dramatic. It will not be chaotic. It will feel calm. Direct. Honest. And in that moment, you will see clearly whether this person has truly grown or is simply reacting to your distance. The power will not be in what they say. The power will be in how you feel when they say it. Do you feel peace? Or pressure? Do you feel clarity? Or confusion? Do you feel respected? Or rushed? Your heart now knows the difference. This is the once-in-a-lifetime revelation. Sometimes the greatest closure is not revenge, not explanation, not dramatic endings. Sometimes the greatest closure is becoming so secure that their inconsistency no longer shakes you. And when that happens, something extraordinary unfolds. Either they rise to meet your new standard, or they fall away naturally. Both outcomes serve you. Because the truth is, the person who once played with your heart is no longer dealing with the same version of you. You have evolved beyond emotional games. You have matured beyond mixed signals. You have outgrown uncertainty disguised as affection. And that growth is magnetic. Something huge is waiting for you. Not because someone regrets losing you, but because you have finally stopped chasing what was not fully choosing you. The energy around you is shifting into clarity, into balance, into reciprocity. This is not the end of your story with love. This is the end of confusion. And as this part closes, understand this deeply. The person who once underestimated your heart is now facing the weight of that decision. Quietly. Internally. Realizing what consistency could have built. Realizing what sincerity could have created. But your journey is no longer paused. It is accelerating. Don't skip what comes next. Stay with this unfolding. Because in the next chapter, you will see whether destiny reopens a door, or introduces someone who never plays with hearts at all. A silent shift is happening behind the scenes, and you can feel it even if no one has spoken a word about it yet. The energy between you and this person is no longer what it used to be. It is heavier for them, lighter for you. And that contrast is not accidental. It is the result of growth that happened quietly, without announcements, without drama, without seeking attention. When they played with your heart, they believed they had time. They believed you would always understand. They believed you would always forgive small inconsistencies, small delays, small disappearances. What they did not calculate was the emotional cost of those small moments. They did not realize that every unanswered message, every vague response, every half-hearted effort was slowly teaching you something powerful. It was teaching you that love should not feel like confusion. At first, you tried to rationalize it. You told yourself they were busy. You told yourself they were stressed. You told yourself that maybe you were overthinking. But deep down, your intuition kept whispering that something was not aligned. And intuition does not speak loudly. It speaks steadily. Now look at the difference. Back then, you were analyzing their actions. Now, they are analyzing yours. Back then, you were wondering why they were distant. Now, they are wondering why you are calm. Back then, you feared losing them. Now, they are sensing the possibility of losing you. Stay till the end, because this is where the transformation becomes undeniable. They are facing something unfamiliar, your emotional independence. There is a certain confidence that comes from detachment. Not coldness. Not bitterness. But clarity. And clarity is powerful. When you stopped reacting, stopped chasing, stopped over-explaining, something inside them shifted. The dynamic changed. The control they once felt dissolved quietly. They might not say it directly, but they feel it. They feel that you are not waiting the same way. They feel that your responses are balanced. They feel that your energy is centered. They feel that your attention is no longer automatic. And that realization is creating pressure within them. Not pressure from you. Pressure from their own reflection. Because when someone plays with a sincere heart and later realizes that heart is no longer fully accessible, regret begins to grow in subtle ways. It shows up in late-night thoughts. It shows up in scrolling through old conversations. It shows up in remembering how you once cared without hesitation. But here is what makes this moment extraordinary. you are no longer operating from the same emotional space. You have healed more than they expected. You have matured more than they predicted. You have detached more than they assumed. And that is what they are facing. Don't skip this realization. Let it anchor inside you. When someone underestimates your emotional value, they often only recognize it once they sense competition from your future. It is not necessarily another person. It is your upgraded self. The version of you that sets boundaries. The version of you that does not beg for clarity. The version of you that is comfortable walking away from inconsistency. That version of you is powerful. They are noticing it. They may test the waters. They may reach out casually. They may try to re-enter your space with humor, nostalgia, or subtle compliments. But this time, you are observing, not absorbing. This time, you are listening beyond the words. Are their actions consistent? Are their efforts sustained? Are they clear in their intentions? Because if someone truly faces the consequences of playing with your heart, growth will be visible. It will not be temporary enthusiasm. It will not be emotional speeches. It will be steady behavior. Something huge is waiting for you, but it requires discernment. You are standing at a crossroads that feels calm on the outside but powerful on the inside. You could allow them back into your emotional space, but only if they meet the new standard you have established. And if they cannot meet it, you now have the strength to walk forward without resentment. That is evolution. They are facing the reality that you are no longer emotionally dependent on their validation. And that changes the entire dynamic. You may not see their internal conflict, but it exists. They are comparing how things used to be with how they are now. They are measuring your current energy against your past devotion. They are recognizing that they once had access to something rare and treated it casually. And that awareness does not feel light. It feels heavy. But here is the deeper truth you must hold on to: their realization is not your responsibility. You are not here to teach them through suffering. You are not here to prove your value repeatedly. You are not here to convince anyone to treat you correctly. You are here to align with what aligns with you. Stay till the end, because the next shift is even more powerful. As you continue focusing on your own growth, your aura changes. You become less reactive. You become more selective. You become more magnetic. And when someone who once played with your heart sees that magnetism increasing without them being the center of it, they feel something unfamiliar. They feel the possibility of replacement. Not because you are rushing into something new, but because you are no longer emotionally paused. Your life is moving. Your energy is expanding. Your confidence is stabilizing. And they are witnessing it from a distance. This is the moment where roles quietly reverse. You once waited for their messages. Now they wait for your replies. You once overanalyzed their tone. Now they analyze your brevity. You once worried about losing them. Now they worry about being forgotten. But here is the most important revelation of all: this is not about power. It is about balance. True connection is not built on imbalance. It is built on mutual respect, emotional safety, and consistent effort. If they truly want to re-enter your life in a meaningful way, they will have to demonstrate that they understand this now. And you will not have to force it. Because the right energy flows without manipulation. Don't skip this moment of clarity. Let it settle deep inside you. There is a reason you experienced this heartbreak. It sharpened your intuition. It refined your standards. It strengthened your emotional resilience. You are no longer the version of yourself who tolerates uncertainty disguised as affection. And that growth is your reward. They are facing the consequences of underestimating someone who was genuine. They are realizing that emotional stability is rare. They are recognizing that loyalty is not common. They are understanding that sincerity cannot be replicated easily. But whether they rise to meet your level or remain stuck in their old patterns will soon become clear. A conversation is approaching. It may begin casually. It may start light. It may feel familiar. But beneath that surface, there will be tension. Not negative tension, but emotional gravity. They will be testing whether the door is still open. And you will be sensing whether the energy is authentic. Stay till the end, because your response in that moment will define the next chapter. You will not respond from hurt. You will not respond from desperation. You will respond from alignment. And that is powerful. If they come back with clarity, humility, and consistency, you will recognize it. If they come back with vague promises and emotional confusion, you will recognize that too. Your heart is no longer naive. It is wise. Something huge is waiting for you, and it is not limited to one person. It is the expansion of your emotional life into something healthier, something deeper, something mutual. The person who once played with your heart is now standing at the edge of a decision. They can either grow and match your evolution, or they can watch from a distance as you move forward into something more aligned. Either way, you win. Because you have already reclaimed your power. And as this part closes, understand this: the greatest shift is not in their regret. The greatest shift is in your peace. You are no longer shaken by uncertainty. You are no longer defined by their behavior. You are no longer attached to outcomes that do not honor your worth. Stay with this unfolding. Don't skip the transformation that is happening quietly within you. Because what comes next will reveal whether this story continues with renewed intention, or whether a completely new chapter opens with someone who never plays with hearts in the first place. Something is about to unfold that will quietly redefine everything you thought this connection meant. Not in a dramatic way. Not with chaos. But with clarity so sharp that you will finally see the full picture without emotion distorting it. There was a time when you saw them through hope. Hope made excuses. Hope softened red flags. Hope turned confusion into patience. But now, you are seeing them through wisdom. And wisdom does not exaggerate. It observes. It measures. It understands patterns. This is the difference between who you were, and who you are becoming. They are sensing that difference too. When someone plays with your heart, they rely on predictability. They rely on you reacting the same way. They rely on you forgiving the same behavior. They rely on your emotional availability being permanent. But the moment you stop responding from old patterns, their certainty collapses. And that is exactly what is happening now. They feel your stillness. They notice your composure. They recognize your restraint. And restraint is powerful. Before, if they pulled away, you felt it deeply. Now, if they pull away, you observe it calmly. Before, you feared losing the connection. Now, you evaluate whether the connection deserves to continue. That shift is monumental. Stay till the end, because this is where the emotional reversal becomes undeniable. They are beginning to understand that you are no longer emotionally chasing them. And when someone who once had your full attention senses distance, curiosity intensifies. Questions start forming inside them. Why is your energy different? Why are you not reacting? Why do you seem peaceful? Peace confuses people who expected chaos. And that confusion leads to realization. They may start remembering the way you cared without hesitation. The way you supported them without conditions. The way you invested emotionally without calculation. And now they are comparing that memory to their current reality. That comparison is heavy. Because they are realizing that not everyone offers what you offered. Not everyone listens the way you listened. Not everyone stays consistent the way you stayed. Not everyone gives their heart with sincerity. They once had access to that. And they treated it lightly. Now they are facing the weight of that decision. Don't skip this, because this next truth is important. Their regret, if it exists, is not because you disappeared. It is because you evolved. Growth creates contrast. And contrast reveals value. When you stopped overextending yourself, you unknowingly forced them to confront their own behavior. When you stopped explaining your feelings repeatedly, you stopped feeding the imbalance. When you stopped waiting for clarity, you started creating it within yourself. That internal shift is what they are facing now. But here is the deeper revelation: this moment is not about whether they suffer. It is about whether they transform. Anyone can feel temporary regret. Real growth requires sustained change. And that is what you are observing now. They may approach you differently. They may speak more directly. They may attempt to show consistency. But you are no longer moved by words alone. You are measuring alignment. Does their energy match their promises? Does their effort match their interest? Does their presence feel stable? You are not being cold. You are being discerning. Something huge is waiting for you, and it requires emotional intelligence. Because here is what often happens when someone plays with a genuine heart and later realizes its value: they try to reclaim it quickly. They rush back. They attempt to restart the connection from where it left off. They assume familiarity guarantees access. But you have changed. You no longer offer immediate emotional access. You no longer provide unlimited reassurance. You no longer lower your standards to preserve someone's comfort. That is the transformation they did not anticipate. Stay with this unfolding. They are facing a version of you that is calm, self-aware, and emotionally grounded. And that version cannot be manipulated by inconsistency. You may notice subtle shifts. They respond faster. They initiate conversations. They ask deeper questions. They attempt to re-establish closeness. But this time, you are not rushing. You are observing whether the change is sustainable. Because love is not proven in moments of urgency. It is proven in moments of consistency. And consistency requires effort over time. This is where destiny becomes precise. If they truly understand the value of what they once mishandled, their actions will reflect humility. They will not pressure you. They will not rush you. They will respect the space you created. They will demonstrate growth without demanding immediate forgiveness. But if their return is fueled only by fear of losing you, the pattern will reveal itself quickly. Your intuition is sharper now. You can feel when energy is genuine. You can sense when effort is temporary. You can distinguish between regret and transformation. Don't skip this realization. You are no longer seeking validation from someone who once created confusion. You are seeking alignment with someone who understands clarity. And here is the once-in-a-lifetime revelation you may not expect. Sometimes the person who played with your heart becomes the catalyst for your greatest emotional awakening. Without that experience, you would not have refined your boundaries. Without that confusion, you would not have strengthened your intuition. Without that imbalance, you would not have learned the importance of reciprocity. They may be facing regret. But you are facing growth. And growth is more powerful than regret. Now imagine this moment approaching, a conversation that feels different from the past. It carries weight. It carries sincerity. It carries awareness. They may admit they did not fully understand what they had. They may acknowledge their inconsistency. They may express a desire to do better. And you will listen. But you will not abandon your standards. Because your peace is no longer negotiable. Stay till the end, because this final truth defines everything. Whether this story continues with them or concludes peacefully, you are stepping into a new emotional chapter. One that is balanced. One that is mature. One that is intentional. If they rise to meet your level, it will not be because you begged them to change. It will be because they chose to evolve. And if they cannot rise, they will naturally fade from your path without bitterness. That is emotional sovereignty. The person who once played with your heart is now facing something deeper than consequences. They are facing comparison between who they were and who you have become. And that comparison is awakening something inside them. But your journey is no longer dependent on their awakening. It is guided by your alignment. You are no longer the one waiting. You are no longer the one doubting. You are no longer the one overgiving. You are the one choosing. Something huge is waiting for you, not in the form of revenge or validation, but in the form of emotional equilibrium. A connection where effort flows naturally. A partnership where clarity replaces confusion. A dynamic where both hearts feel safe. And as this part closes, understand this deeply: the moment someone realizes they played with something rare is the moment they begin to see its true value. But the real power lies in this: you now know your value without needing them to confirm it. Stay with what is unfolding.